What's going on, guys? Just making a little video of how to set up an African soft fur rat colony. This of course could apply for mice or Norway rats, but a friend of mine requested that I make a video of how to set up a colony. Best way to keep them for breeding, so on and so forth. I keep all my African soft furs in these racks right here, but you don't have to keep them in a rack. You can keep them in a tub like that you can pick up from Walmart or somewhere. You can keep them in those type small tubs. If you decide to keep them in a small tub like that, I would recommend no more than like 1.2 ratio, because you don't want to overcrowd them. I personally only have mice in that little small tub because I just feel like that's just too small. Like, these racks might appear small at first glance, but they are extremely long. They go real far back. But anyway, African soft fur rats like tight spots. Well, I think all rodents do, really. I have noticed when I keep them in smaller spots, they tend to breed even better. So don't listen to those people out there that try to tell you, oh, you got to have this big 20-gallon or 60-gallon aquarium if you want them to be happy and healthy and breed. They will breed in that, do not misunderstand me, but they breed like wildfire when they're in a safe, secure spot. I'll give you an example. This is one of my tubs right here. It's a 1.3 ratio. Look at all those hoppers in there. I've already taken a bunch of hoppers out of there to make room. These are fresh hoppers. They're about to be coming out. I took these out a week ago of that same tub. They obviously are feeling extremely secure and safe. When an African soft fur rat does not feel secure and safe, they'll eat their babies. I know from experience. I used to get so frustrated and wonder why they were doing it. Well, I was messing with them too much at that time, and they didn't trust me, and as a result, they were eating their babies. Well, now I can mess with them all day long. They trust me. I've actually developed a bond with them, and I know you might laugh about that. You might say that's not true. You hear about how African soft furs are real mean and aggressive. These are all babies, keep in mind, and look at this. I can pet the mother, or the father, the mothers, all that. They don't care at all. They don't attack me. They don't bite me. But I spend a lot of time with my rodents. I wouldn't recommend getting a 1.3 colony, put them together, let them breed, and then stick your hand down in there. You will get bit unless you spend a lot of time with them. Watch this. I can literally pick up the babies right in front of the mothers. They don't care because they trust me. You try that with a colony that you don't spend time with, the mothers will charge you like a pit bull and they will bite you. Now, ain't nothing wrong with pit bulls. I just use that for an analogy. Pit bulls are a great dog, but they are powerful. Anyway, the reason I got tape on this particular rack and this particular rack, I got one or two in there that's extremely intelligent, and they have found a way to start pushing open the rack. So I just add a little piece of tape to kind of keep it in. As far as setting up the colony, like I said, main important ingredient you got to have is the rats. Second thing, you need fresh water and you need food. As far as the food, you need food that has at least 21% protein, no more than 6% fat. If you keep that ratio just right, they breed like crazy. If you get too little protein, like I would say 18% protein, I ain't saying you can't be successful, but I have noticed that when I keep it at 21% protein, they breed great. If I lower the protein too much, so to speak, they will actually start eating their babies. I believe it's because they don't have enough protein in their diet. So anyway, now that's just my personal opinion, and according to my veterinarian, he's the one that told me how to do that. He said if you want to breed successfully, and he actually owns a rattery, he says keep 21% protein and no more than 6% fat. That's a good thing to follow. As far as what kind of food, I use dog food. You can use rat food, you can actually use pig food. To me, the dog food works perfect. It's a whole lot cheaper, and as you can see, I'm not having any issues whatsoever with breeding. They are breeding like absolute crazy. These are all 1.3 colonies in these racks. I started these African soft furs with just a few colonies, and look at it now. Every last one of those are filled except the bottom two rows. They're mice. Mice, same thing. They're breeding like crazy in there too. Every one of those tubs are full. What I'm doing is I'm going to fill this rack up with African soft furs, and I'm moving all my mice to smaller tubs like that and the tubs like that. As far as the feed out tub, there's a feed out tub. I might have already described this, but just in case I didn't, you want to keep all males together. If you put females with males, as they get older, they'll try to develop a colony, and if you try to add new additions to that colony, the females will actually chase down the new addition and will kill it instantly. So you don't want to do that. Let's say you decide, I'm going to introduce a new male to my colony. My old male's getting too old. Leave the old male in the colony. Don't mess with it. Let him do his job. When the babies come, keep one male in the new colony. Don't separate it. Let that male grow up with the colony, and it will take over where that other male was. Once it gets to about, let's say, 4 weeks, 5 weeks of age, take the old male out, add it over here to your feed-out tub, and then it becomes the circle of life. Vice versa, same principle with the female. You want to replace 2 females, leave 2 females in the colony, let them grow up, take the other 2 females out, put them in a feed-out tub, or go ahead and feed them off, however you want to do it. However you keep your feed-out tubs, I've already said this, but I stress it again for a reason, African soft furs will kill each other if you keep them together and try to introduce new additions, especially if there's babies in that colony. The mothers get extremely protective. I can't stress that enough. I've watched them try to just chase down a new addition and just biting all over trying to kill it. And of course I separate it because I just don't think that's funny like some people. I separate it. And I don't do that anymore. I just let my colonies reproduce and replace one another as needed. Very simple, guys. It's very simple. If you got any questions or anything about this, if I didn't describe this good enough, I'm sorry about that. Write me a message. I'll do my very best to answer your questions and to help you in any way I can. Now, I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. There's probably a million ways that you can raise rodents and all. But for me, this is a very successful way, and as you can see, I'm having no issues whatsoever. I have several ball pythons. I have about 12 ball pythons, about 10 corn snakes, king snakes, so on and so forth. I literally can't feed them all fast enough. They just keep on coming, keep on coming. Every one of these top tubs are filled with pinkies and hoppers. I'm literally being overran. Alright guys, like I said, if you got any questions, feel free to comment or write a private message, however you'd like to do it. Have a good night.